Hey guys, welcome back. It's Jen. Today I'm going to tell you 5 secrets on how to make a 3D mermaid tail cake topper or cupcake topper with a 2D silicone mold. A little hint here on the most important secret: if you're an EMT or first responder, you're going to be really good at this. I know, totally random, but it'll make sense later. I use fondant as my medium in the making of this video. I could stare at the ocean all day long. Does anybody else feel that way? Imagine all the mermaids down there stealing shiny things. Here are the tools I used in the making of this video if you want to take a quick screenshot of this. You can find most of these items in a craft store or on Amazon. Okay, let's do this. So the first thing obviously is we have to make a couple mermaid tail molds. If you haven't done this before, don't worry, it's very easy. It's just like working with Play-Doh. There's just a couple things you need to know and you will immediately be a professional. It's that easy. So secret number 1 is vegetable shortening. If the fondant sticks to your hands or gloves, or your fondant starts getting dry, all you have to do is rub some vegetable shortening, aka Crisco, on your hands like lotion, and the fondant will no longer stick to your hands and it'll moisten it back up. It's important to keep the fondant moist, otherwise it's more likely to crack in your mold or crack after it's dry. Also, when coloring your fondant, a time saver is to color a small piece of fondant with whatever icing color you prefer. I use teal, and then mix the colored fondant with your big ball of fondant, because it's a lot easier to mix fondant together than it is to mix icing color with fondant. Your fondant will feel kind of hard, but after you color it, it will naturally soften up with the warmth of your hands. I always feel like when I make videos about fondant, I say fondant so much. So I want you to guess how many times I'm going to say fondant in this video. I will write the answer in the comments, and if you're bored, feel free to double check my counting. I just realized I added 3 completely unnecessary fondants. Make that 4. Moving on, secret number 2. Cornstarch. Dust your mold with cornstarch. You don't want too much, so I flip it over and shake some out. Cornstarch allows your fondant to peel right out of your mold. A few other quick tips is try to use one piece to fill your whole mold at a time. If you just use one piece of fondant and spread it throughout your mold, it's going to be a lot stronger, especially that small weak point that has to hold up the fin. Also, after you peel all the excess fondant off of the mold, push the fondant inward now a little bit away from the edge of the mold, and that'll help it come out. And then you don't have to trim any extra fondant. Then you just flip it over and peel it out if it's a flexible mold, starting with the most delicate side, which is the fin. If your mold isn't very flexible, you can just slam it upside down against the counter and it'll come out. Put this first mermaid tail mold aside and quickly make another one so that the first one doesn't have time to dry up too much. Okay, time for secret number 3. Take your 2 mermaid tail molds, carefully flip the first mermaid tail you made upside down onto the foam, then put some parchment paper over that. Then take your second mermaid tail and put it on top of the parchment paper. Now this mermaid tail mold is not completely symmetrical, so they don't match up exactly, but luckily the second mermaid tail you made is still flexible enough that you can bend the fin the other way to match up with the first tail that you made. Now I put the parchment paper between the 2 tails because I want to be able to match these up really well without them sticking to each other. Okay, so once you have these 2 pieces matched up, then use what I call the stretcher technique. You've got a mermaid down, the tail might be injured, keep the tail stabilized. I'm having way too much fun with this. Okay, so it's not that serious, but try to keep the same shape so when they're both dry, they'll match up to each other again. Okay, let these dry at least overnight, depending on the humidity level where you live. It's really important that you do not pick these up or move them in the process of drying. They're the most likely to break halfway between the drying process because they're not flexible anymore, but they're not hard yet either. You can touch them to feel it out, and when you feel like they're dry enough, then comes secret number 4. Whatever you're going to do to these mermaid tails, do it before you glue them together. Because of this weak point on the tail, this is really delicate. If you're gonna paint it or whatever you're gonna do it now. I added a gold shimmer to mine. I highly recommend this TMP Super Gold Dust. It is gorgeous, it looks like real gold. But it's considered non-toxic if you want something that's considered edible. I have a video on my channel about painting gold that shows you the different edible options and how they compare. I'll put a link to that video in my video description below. Okay, last but not least, secret number 5. What is this mysterious adhesive that I use to glue these two pieces together? And where do I buy it? Good news is, it's just water. All you do is brush a little water on the flat side of each mold. This will get the fondant wet again, which makes it tacky, which makes it act like glue. Put the two pieces together, let them dry overnight. Again, depending on the humidity where you live. And the reason I use this foam is because, first of all, it dries faster, but it also it's not hard, so it doesn't like smush the details of the tail. And then you can put it on top of your cake or cupcakes. And I retouch the paint after I'm done handling it. The cool thing about these two is you can make them a month in advance. After they're completely dry, you just store them in an airtight container. If you want to learn other cake decorating skills and how to decorate other fun sweets and all other types of baking stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you receive notifications every time I post a new video. And if you like this video, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button. Next, I'm going to be posting a video how to make a full mermaid cake using this cake topper. Send me a picture of what you create with these mermaid tails. I'd love to see it. So that's it, you guys. You now know the 5 secrets of making a 3D mermaid tail cake topper using a 2D mold. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time.